Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, finding cool tech stories every single day of the week can be challenging sometimes, but I do try and mix it up as best I can. So you get to hear a different story every day about how technology is transforming multiple industries. And today, I wanted to find out more about some pretty cool new tech, because I recently caught the release of a new eye tracking tool that actually helps user experience designers create websites tailored to how people actually behave. So through Tobii Pro Sprint, UX designers can conduct online eye tracking studies, which essentially will look at all your reactions and test you when you're navigating through your favourite website. Because gaze patterns offer an authentic, objective view of our online behaviour and actually reveal the why behind our particular action. And this insight can be used to optimise a site or make it more user-friendly and engaging before they hit the go live button. And in turn, it helps lead to increased sales conversion or specific call to actions. So that was more than enough to capture my attention. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Philadelphia so we can speak with Joey Goldberg, who's going to tell us all about Tobii Pro. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Joey. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you, Neil, for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I appreciate it. So my name is Joey Goldberg. I am a marketing manager of cloud products here at Tobii Pro. A little bit about Tobii Pro. It is a division of Tobii Group, and we are a leading provider of eye tracking technology. And we are a global company with our headquarters based in Stockholm, Sweden. I have been with the company now for about a year and a half. And most recently, I spent about 6 weeks at our headquarters in Stockholm planning and preparing for the public launch of the product Tobii Pro Sprint, which we'll be talking about today. That happened the end of September, I think September 26th, so a little over a month ago. And otherwise working across all of our cloud products and services here at Tobii Pro. So that is a little bit about what I do.
Fantastic. So you're talking to me in Philadelphia at the moment. Do you get to travel to Stockholm much then on a regular basis?
I do. There for a 6-month period. I think I've been now about 4 or 5 times working on different projects with our global marketing team in Stockholm. So it's a really fantastic opportunity for me to work here with our North America local team based out of Reston, Virginia. So I travel down there quite a bit, but then I also get to visit the Stockholm office and work on different projects again with our global marketing team. So it's a really fantastic gig. I love it.
Cool. And on the East Coast there, of course, in Philadelphia, you are known for some quite harsh winters. Do you notice much of a difference when you go over to Stockholm in the winter, or is it all very much the same?
You would think I would be prepared with the East Coast winters, but I will tell you, Neil, the Stockholm cold weather is a whole nother beast. And I'm really impressed with how well they handle not only the cold, but the darkness for 9 months out of the year. But I will say when you're there in the summer, it's absolutely stunning and worth every minute that it is freezing and dark, because the summers are just absolutely fabulous. So I did get to be there for the summer, for the tail end of the summer. So that was really fantastic.
Fantastic. Now, you did mention a few moments ago, of course, was Tobii Pro Sprint. But I've got to ask, for anyone listening that's tuning in and not heard of Tobii Pro or the group there, can you just tell me what makes it unique from other tools out there, and also the kind of problems that you solve for your customers?
Absolutely. So Tobii Pro provides eye tracking solutions to academic institutions and commercial companies all over the world to help them better understand more very generally human behavior. And eye tracking is the foundational technology that powers that mission. And our solutions consist of hardware, different types of software. But ever since 2001, when the company was founded, our mission has been to make eye tracking as accessible to use for really everybody. And Tobii Pro Sprint is really a manifestation of that mission. In terms of eye tracking as a technology, for those that aren't familiar with eye tracking, really simply it is a technology that accurately tracks where, when, and what a person is looking at. And it's really used extensively as a research tool. And in this case for Tobii Pro Sprint, which we'll talk about, is used as a user testing tool to better understand how users are navigating a website or digital product or service. And the actual technology uses near infrared illuminators, some advanced algorithms, cameras, all built into the physical device, the eye tracking device. And that device can come in a lot of different forms. For Tobii Pro Sprint, it's a screen-based eye tracking device. So it kind of looks like a long rod that sits at the base of a computer screen. And all of that hardware is kind of built in to the device, and again, will allow us to understand exactly and see exactly where somebody is looking on a screen when navigating a website, a bank website, a e-commerce website, et cetera. We also have products that have eye tracking built into virtual reality goggles, glasses. So a ton of different applications, from shopper research and having people walk through a store and look at different products with glasses on, virtual reality environments, and actually using it for therapy with people with phobias, all the way down to what Tobii Pro Sprint is doing, which is making user testing more accessible and easier for user or UX professionals.
Now, your eye tracking technology is incredibly cool, and one of the big reasons that I invited you on the show today.
I think so.
But just to help listeners visualize exactly what it is that you do, can you tell me a little bit more about how your fashion retailer H&M, for example, is a Tobii Sprint customer, and they use, I think, your eye tracking to create a clear path of purchase for online shoppers and actually validate design decisions on their site before it actually goes live. It's fascinating what you're doing there. It's incredibly exciting, isn't it?
It's really exciting to have them as a client, and obviously e-commerce is such an important place where people are purchasing products nowadays. To be able to help a company like H&M and other e-commerce companies make their website more efficient, make it easier for their users to find a product, to access a promotion, et cetera, is really fantastic, and we really love having them as a client. Really quickly, I'll talk kind of a little bit high level about what Tobii Pro Sprint is and how it works, and then talk more about their specific application of the product.
Sure.
Essentially, Tobii Pro Sprint is a web-based plug-and-play usability testing tool that leverages our eye tracking technology. And it's used in user tests for websites, digital products and services to better understand how a user is navigating those assets. So that's the goal of Tobii Sprint and kind of what we're doing. And it's designed for UX professionals working in what we call agile, fast-paced environments. So when we designed the tool, it actually was being used internally at our headquarters by our UX team. They recognized the need for a user testing tool that fit into this fast-paced way of working. So agile testing, there are these they're called design sprints, where the design team and the development team work together to quickly turn out changes and developments in a platform, a website, et cetera. And for a long time, part of the problem was that user testing in general, and specifically eye tracking solutions for user testing, were too time consuming, too expensive. They did not fit into this quick way of working. Our team recognized the need for it, actually built it, and then also recognized that it was not a unique problem to Tobii Pro. This is an issue that a lot of user testing UX professionals are experiencing. So we build it into a product, and here we are with Tobii Pro Sprint. But essentially, again, it's to make the process of user testing faster, easier, and ultimately to reveal hidden insights that other user testing methodologies would not reveal, such as asking somebody or interviewing somebody when they navigate your website. They might not necessarily recall what they saw or what they were doing, facilitating focus groups, et cetera, all of which are really valuable user testing methods, but they may not reveal that level of insights that eye tracking is able to reveal. And that's why H&M is using Tobii Pro Sprint. So something I want to make clear is it's not that Tobii Pro Sprint is meant to replace all these other methods. It's very much meant to be used in conjunction with focus groups, with interviewing, with mouse tracking, hovers, heat maps, et cetera, all of which are really valuable. H&M and other clients of ours are using it in conjunction with those methods. So the way H&M facilitates their studies is they actually will invite participants to their office, and they will have them participate in these studies. The way that the platform is set up, really quickly, is there's two parts. It's both software and hardware. So the hardware device, as I was explaining at the beginning, is a physical device that sits at the base of a computer screen, comes with mounting brackets so it can sit very securely at the base of a computer screen. and then the device is plugged into the computer via USB. The software element is cloud-based, so you can access it on any computer. You just go to the login page, and using your login will access the Sprint platform. And in this case, the moderator, the person that's actually facilitating the session, will go through a short calibration with the participant. What that means is they will actually watch kind of a dot move across the screen. That calibration process ensures that the participant is being accurately tracked. Every time we have a session, we want to recalibrate to make sure that the hardware is accurately tracking each unique participant's gaze on the screen. And once they're set up with the hardware, they've done the calibration, the moderator will explain what it is that they're participating in. They will explain that it's an eye tracking session, so none of this is done confidentially. This is something the participant is fully aware is happening. The participant will then be debriefed as to what the goal of the study is, or what they're there to do, and that really ranges widely. So H&M might, for instance, have a new product that they've launched, or new outfit, and they want the participant to navigate the website and actually find it. That might be the directions that they're given at the beginning of the session. Or they might just have the participant freely navigate and just see how they move across the site, what catches their eye, where do they get stuck, et cetera. So the goal of the study can range have a significant range of applications depending on what H&M and any of our clients are trying to find and what they're trying to recognize as the issue. So those sessions that the participant takes part in are recorded. So H&M will actually record the session. That's part of what the platform's able to do. And those recorded sessions are then shared with stakeholders and other people who are involved in the decision making and deciding what needs to be changed on the website. They will watch the recordings. In the recordings, you'll actually see, we call it a gaze overlay. So you will see the participant navigating the website, and you will see in the form of kind of looks like a blob moving across the site that represents their where their visual attention is on the site. And that recording is then used to make vital changes to the website to make improvements. So for instance, if H&M wants to launch a new product, they have new clothing that they want a participant to search for. If they find that it's difficult for them to find it because they can't find the search bar on the website, they find that they're reading a lot of the text that's actually distracting them from scrolling down to the product once they've actually searched for it. There's a lot of really valuable insights that other methods wouldn't show by using Tobii Pro Sprint. So like you mentioned, it's helping H&M pinpoint those sources of friction in their path to purchase. And ultimately, it's helping them more quickly identify areas for design changes that for them were previously difficult to prove.
So do you get to hear from any of your customers, and do they offer you any feedback on the kind of insights that they've actually gained and how they've managed to turn those insights and make them really valuable and make big differences or big changes to what they do?
Sure. I think at this point, so we did recently launch, it's only been about a month and a half. We did have a beta program that ran for, I think, about 6 months prior to the launch, where we were working with partners to give us feedback, not only on the improvements that they were able to make, but also on the platform itself. So we worked very closely with a lot of our now clients, paying clients that wanted to help us improve the platform, but also were using it regularly. So some of the changes might be more general, where, for instance, we have a client called Avanza. They're the largest online bank in Sweden. They use it for all sorts of different customer testing, but they are using it every time they do customer testing, and they're using it in a live setting. So you can actually, with Tobii Pro Sprint, see while the participant is navigating, in this case, Avanza's website and platform, where they're looking in that moment. So if you have stakeholders and decision makers in that session, they can actually see while the session is happening, what areas are challenging for the participant. Are they having trouble finding the form to submit to the bank to actually open up an account? These are the types of things that, again, with interviews and other focus group type methods, they might not be able to have seen, because that hidden layer of insights, that implicit subconscious data that we're getting, or that output that we're getting from Tobii Pro Sprint, you're not able to get from those other methods. So the findings tend to be more general. These are more relatively new clients. So I think the more we work with them, the more we'll get more concrete examples. But I think ultimately they recognize that that hidden layer of insights is so valuable. They need to be using Tobii Pro Sprint for all of their user testing sessions.
And H&M is just one example that we've mentioned here today. So how can similar eye tracking studies be used for, let's say, online banking portals, music and video streaming services, work portals, or really pretty much any digital product?
I think that you say it perfectly, that any digital service or product, website, anything that's on a screen can benefit from using Tobii Pro Sprint. So for instance, if you're any type of e-commerce website, we've done some studies on Amazon with specific products where we can understand, is there a specific product image that captures people's attention more effectively than others? Is there a certain amount of text that overwhelms a participant when they're reading a product description that has them drop off and move on from the product, or they don't capture or they're not reading the most essential elements of or product features in that first few sentences? We're able to see with the output that we're getting from Tobii Pro Sprint when that happens, and actually have a physical representation of when the participant loses interest or can't find a product in an e-commerce environment, which is hugely valuable when you're trying to compete with so many other competitor products. And I like to talk about the attention economy. It's more important than ever for all sorts of companies across all verticals and industries to make their digital services and websites as efficient, as ideal for the user as possible. And by implementing Tobii Pro Sprint into their agile way of working, they're able to better understand than ever how they're navigating these products and see where these even incremental improvements can be made. And when there's so many different places that people can be shopping, and people have their phones and their TVs, et cetera, there's so many distracting elements. People expect a good user experience, an ideal user experience. Every second that is spent trying to find something, and every second that they're struggling to do something, is an opportunity for them to leave a website to decide to go somewhere else. So it's more important than ever to be implementing eye tracking and using Tobii Pro Sprint and other technologies in user testing regularly.
Well, we are living in a mobile-first digital world now, and I recently read that the average user, you've now got 3 seconds, just 3 seconds to win their attention and hold them. So, I mean, how important are you finding it for brands to have that seamless and intuitive user interface on their page layouts? And is it something that they get and understand and realise that they need to do something about? And also, how are you helping them overcome these challenges?
I think the trend is clearly moving towards more testing. I think about 50% now of companies are doing regular user testing. So I do think that the market is responding to this demand from the user. I think it's super unique that now the user, the client, the person purchasing a product is so much in charge of what the companies, or so much drive what the companies do and how they improve their sites, et cetera. And now, like you said, if you have 3 seconds to capture their attention, those 3 seconds better be fantastically designed, better look amazing, work amazingly well. And the only way that you can really ensure that that happens is doing a lot of pre-testing and using user testing methods like Tobii Pro Sprint very early on in the design phase. The later that you wait in that process, you get to where the actual product is being built. And then, of course, once it's launched, the cost that goes into that is incurred trying to fix those errors and improve it once a product or a website is already launched versus doing it in the pre-testing phases is exponentially more. So you're saving an incredible amount of time and money doing this type of testing earlier on, and you're also ensuring that you're designing the most ideal user experience so that in those first 3 seconds you're capturing your users and converting them and making sure that they're brand evangelists and that they like the experience that they're having. I think those few seconds can be improved infinitely by understanding where somebody is looking once they visit in those first couple seconds that they're visiting a website or using a product.
So we've talked about H&M. I mean, do you have any other use cases that you can share with me from the world of e-commerce, banking, or in fact any digital product or service?
Sure. Avanza, I'd mentioned earlier, is, I believe, the largest online bank in Sweden, and they are using the live session, so actually showing stakeholders while a participant is navigating their product, where they're looking and identifying areas of friction and where they can make improvements on their product. And one thing that they like to talk about is it actually shows them the why versus the what. So that why that is revealed with Tobii Pro Sprint is brings so much value. They actually said it helps them understand their users better than they understand themselves, which I really like that quote. Ultimately, the user might not remember why they did something, what they saw, what they didn't. So that implicit level of data that Tobii Pro Sprint it brings to the table really allows Avanza to recognize areas for improvement that they hadn't with other traditional testing methods. We do have quite a few other clients. I can't speak on the exact examples, but we really are working with people across all verticals, from e-commerce, online learning platforms, banking, all sorts of different music streaming platforms, all of which require this type of regular testing to make sure that their experiences are ideal for their users. So it's kind of, now that we've made a faster, easier to use, accessible version of eye tracking, the world is our oyster in terms of working with all sorts of different companies and platforms all of whom need to be improving their online experiences on a regular basis.
And it really is exciting technology and something that's delivering real value. But something I've got to ask is, what is the actual story behind Tobii Pro, and what made you guys want to, or made you realise, what was that epiphany, that moment where you had the idea to make tech easier for use for businesses and adopting eye tracking technology?
Yeah, so as I'd mentioned at the beginning, kind of our mission has always been to make eye tracking as accessible as possible and make eye tracking easy to use for everyone. And I think Tobii Pro Sprint really is a manifestation of that mission. We wanted to make, specifically in the user testing world, eye tracking a more accessible, easy to use tool. And by building Tobii Pro Sprint, bringing it onto the cloud, being able to view live sessions, record the sessions, and share them with stakeholders later, product features that we were hearing from the market were needed, allowed us to serve a need and fill a need in the market. And again, it came out of our own Tobii Pro UX team that they found a need for this. They were actually using it themselves and developed it for their own UX testing needs before we actually decided this might be a product that other teams need as well. So by developing it internally and recognizing the need internally, we're able to create a platform now that we're selling and providing to a whole host of different products, or companies rather.
So what's next for Tobii Pro? Is there anything else you can share with us today? I appreciate you're probably fairly limited on the information you can give me, but is there any teasers or anything you can tell me about what you're going to be up to in the next 12 months?
Sure. There's an enormous potential in the value of our technology and the applications it has across different fields. So we're constantly innovating, trying to make it more accessible, smaller, easier to use. So some specific examples of that, we recently launched our smallest Tobii Pro eye tracker called Tobii Pro Nano. So Cornell actually has the university has a mobile communication lab that is enabling scholars to travel to different areas of cities, socioeconomic, and reaching different socioeconomic, racial, geographic groups by physically driving there in a van with a mobile lab, using smaller, faster, easier to transport eye tracking devices. That's something we're focusing on quite a bit. We are also focusing on improving manufacturing safety. So for instance, in a high-risk environment like a metal foundry, we're actually able to use eye tracking to identify where potential errors could be made, where there's potentially risky environments or elements of what a person working at a metal foundry might encounter on a day-to-day basis, and using that to actually save lives or protect the lives of the people working in those environments. We are also focusing quite a bit on VR and AR, so virtual and augmented reality, as they become more accessible. They're a big focus for us. We do offer currently a VR integration and hardware software solution, which allows researchers to run eye tracking studies in fully controlled VR environments, which is really, really cool with a whole host of applications. And then we also see the need to continue to build out cloud-based solutions like Tobii Pro Sprint that make it easier and more accessible technology. And then, of course, as you had mentioned, mobile is huge. So we're really pushing for a new mobile solution actually under the Tobii Pro Sprint product, hopefully sometime next year. So a lot on the horizon, But again, our mission is to make eye tracking accessible to everybody. And I really feel that Tobii Pro Sprint, along with a lot of these initiatives in the coming years, are helping us to do that.
So if we do have anyone listening that's intrigued about Tobii Pro eye tracking and Tobii Pro Sprint, of course, and they want to find out more information or keep up to speed with what you guys are doing, what's the best way to find you online and contact a member of your team if they've just got any extra questions?
Sure. If you'd like to learn more about Tobii Pro Sprint, you can visit us at Tobii Pro, TOBII Pro.com/sprint, SPRANT. And there you can read more about the platform, watch videos. We have a chat box, so we would love for you to ask us questions and come see us. And then, of course, you can request a demo as well and have somebody demo the platform for you. So we'd love for you to come visit us there and check it out.
Well, we are living in a mobile-first world where full of dwindling attention spans and various digital distractions that you mentioned. And like I said earlier in the episode, that we have, or businesses have, 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention and hold it. Outside of that, you've lost them forever. And I think this kind of technology is so important to actually remove those clunky sites that we've all visited and improve them for a digital age. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story with me today. Thanks.
Thank you, Neil. I really appreciate being on.
So many great examples here, such as the retailer of H&amp using eye tracking to create a clear path of purchase for its online shoppers, but ultimately to validate design decisions on their site. And I think it's incredibly exciting to hear how similar eye tracking studies can be done for online banking portals, music and video streaming services, work portals, and like we said in the show there, pretty much any digital product or service. And what makes Tobii Pro Sprint unique from other tools seems to me at least that it's completely online with live streaming, recording and collaboration features that are crucial for UX teams. But enough of me getting all excited about yet another tech solution again. What did you think? Do you work in any of these industries? Do you see eye tracking being useful to you? I know you have an opinion, and what makes this show work is you sharing your opinions too, not only with me, but with everybody listening to the podcast. So remember, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. And remember, if you've seen some pretty cool tech out there that you want me to investigate, or you or your company would like to share your story, let me know and we'll get you on. But it's quitting time once again, so all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.